I'm Mark Valdes Dapena with the AMCS Group, and today we're going to talk about AMCS Platform's mobile grading. This is an application to be used by your inspectors out in the scrapyard when material is dumped out in your yard. The ability for them to be able to take pictures of that load of material, downgrade some or all of that load, take deductions for contamination, and potentially assess fees. So let's take a look at mobile grading, and let's look at a typical transaction from start to finish. We'll start at the truck scale. We'll go out in the yard and be that mobile grader, and then we'll complete that transaction at the truck scale and see what was performed. Okay, so we're looking at Platform's truck scale. So what we're going to do here is we're going to weigh a truck in here from one of our auto salvage yard suppliers. So let's identify this account. It happens to be Cat Salvage, and they're bringing in what we see as a scale operator, whole motor blocks. So let's weigh that vehicle in. We're going to capture the weight right off your indicator. The system's going to automatically capture pictures from some stationary position cameras pointing down at the scale, and let's send them out in the yard to unload. Okay, let's change roles. Let's be that grader that's out in the yard where this material is being dumped. So out in the yard, we've got your inspector armed with a mobile device, either wirelessly Wi-Fi connected or cell connected. Apple or Android, doesn't matter. It's in a ruggedized, weatherproof container. So he's out there in the yard connected to the system. We see Cat Salvage approaching with his truck. So we're going to grade a load. So there it is, Cat Salvage with his whole motor blocks. Now, again, this is on a mobile device, so this is actually a touch screen. So I'm going to click on this. That's mirrored to my PC. So here it is, supposed to be whole motor blocks, but it's not. So let's grade this load. And let's add some additional material. So I see in there, I see some waste that's in that load, some contamination. So I'm going to select waste. I also notice that there's some tin in this load as well. And it's loose, a lower priced commodity. I'm going to downgrade a portion of this load. And so I'm going to document here for these couple of tires, I'm going to put in there's 30 pounds of debris, and I'll put in there's 1,000 pounds of tin. So let's save that. And now we're going to accept the grade of the rest of the whole motor blocks. I'm going to click on that green check mark. And because I'm going to get an argument if I don't document this with a photograph from my supplier. So let's click on the motor blocks. Let's launch the camera on our tablet. When I click attachments, it knows it's a tablet. It's going to launch the camera. Let's grab a picture of that material. That's an acceptable picture. You can see the debris. You can see the tin. Let's save that. And all of that is updating the ticket in real time. Now, the other thing that's going to happen here too is because maybe I have spent some additional labor to separate this material, something my supplier should have done. I'm going to add a fee on here. So I've got here separation. So I'm going to put down 1 hour to separate that load. Now, those fees, they could be detitling fees for end-of-life vehicles. It could be depolluting fees if your folks are bringing in vehicles that you have to remove the fluids from. Anything you can configure, you can make these, assess these fees by count, a flat fee, by weight, or by the hour. Anything that you can think of that you are appropriately being compensated for perhaps some tasks that should have been performed by your suppliers or that you're going to incur additional costs. So let's complete this transaction. Let's go back to the truck scale now. Let's weigh this vehicle out. So again, everything I did on that mobile grading device has updated my transaction. So I've downgraded from motor blocks to a lower price commodity. I've assessed a charge for the contamination in that load. Let's weigh it out. And I've documented that with pictures so it would eliminate any disputes from my supplier. They can log on to our supplier portal. They have self-service access to look at this transaction, look at that downgrade, look at that contamination, and look at the photographs. So let's recap. Our mobile grading application, absolutely real-time interface with our scale application. Downgrading materials, documenting that with pictures, assessing fees. It's going to lower your cost of goods sold because you're now buying right. And you're also being compensated perhaps for some costs in the form of waste that you need to dispose of. Now you can charge for the if that's included into the load, so you can be compensated for that, and compensated if you need to provide any additional services that perhaps your supplier either didn't or could not have in the form of depolluting, detitling, separation, any of those things, straight to your bottom line. So thank you for joining us today on this really important view of AMCS Platform's mobile grading application.